Previously in the anime, we saw Takeru, a normal salaryman, gets reincarnated to another world with loads and loads of cheat skills. Among them was a search skill, with which he can identify the items and their rarity. So Takeru decided to become a gatherer to make a living in a peaceful way. And when a general store owner saw his skills, he asked Takeru to fetch some mithril or from the Eastern Mountain. That place was filled with death vibes. But Takeru bravely takes a step forward to find mithril or anyhow. On his search, he ended up in the nest of an ancient dragon. So it made things complicated. But Voldius saw Takeru was brimming with pure magic. So he asked Takeru for help on hatching his egg. And the little one that came out of the egg got fond of Takeru. So Voldius asked Takeru to look after it from now on. And that is how our boy unexpectedly got a new companion. And Takeru named him B, and came out of that nest. There, he saw night was approaching. So Takeru decided to pitch up his camp here for today. Before he returned back outside, Voldius had connected the lake to his item box so he could drink the magical water and grow up anytime and anywhere. But then, he cutely shares it with Takeru as well. He sets up the barrier at night because of monster, but surprisingly, even in this damn place, Takeru can make this delicious dinner and be got all drooling from its smell. So Takeru gave it some, and it was good that he can eat the same meal as human, so that's one worry out of his mind. But Takeru still felt bad that he had to be separated from his parents. But he said in his own way that he's fine with him as long as Takeru is by his side. He was a dragon, so Takeru asked B to never be reckless and do this, and that like a parent. But B falls asleep mid-lecture. So Takeru lets him sleep, then he does recall that God has said something about partner. So maybe this is what he meant. Then the next day the forest that gave death vibe changed all of a sudden. So Takeru decided to gather up more material now that he got a chance. But suddenly B returned in panic, so Takeru used his search and saw it's a monster gang that scared him. Earlier, he assumed his stench was keeping creatures at bay. But that's not the case. Then a really freaking sort of monster showed up trying to be intimidating. But Takeru had seen worse just the other day. So instead, he saw it as a flying meal and used a safe magic offensive method to bring him down for dinner. Then there were many other as well. So Takeru uses physical enchantment to get them all swiftly and efficiently. That way meal for at least 15 days got secured. But the number of monster kept on increasing. So B thought of flying away, and Takeru lightened his weight to help. But things went south because of that. B lost his grip from height, and bro fell down. But luckily not to his death. Dude was saved because of trees, and B hurriedly brought him out of the forest when Takeru was unconscious. So now they started making their way back to the village again, and Takeru found a branch of world tree in his item bag. Apparently B filled it with magic to awaken it, and it turned into a staff. But Takeru doesn't want others to think he's a mage. But suddenly something made them worry, and they puts up their guard. Then first B went over check out, and as Takeru followed, he saw it was just a wrong call. Turns out there was an elf girl passed out there, but not because she was injured. She was starving because she hadn't eaten in 3 days. So Takeru gives her some water first, and after that she got a bit of energy to talk at least. But her stomach kept on rumbling, so Takeru gave her the lunch box the innkeeper prepared for him. That awoke the sleeping beauty that she felt like ascending to heaven. But it was kind of a dumb actually. So Takeru asked why she ran out of food so early. I mean, yeah, they are far from the village, but even non-adventurer prepares food if they heads into the woods. His question made her mad, but she smelled like crap as well. She was very opposite of the elves he knew. But she said her job was urgent, so she forgot. Then she thanked for the meal, and after saying that she ran off. Now that this was out of the way, Takeru again continued to gather up some extra material, and in the way, he saw a carriage approaching from afar. They were also heading to Tommy Village, and the man thought Takeru was a mage seeing that staff, but he clears it that he's a gatherer in any case. They told him to hop on for a ride. He was traveling with his entire family to the same village, and kids weren't scared of in this world. Rather, kids are very fond of him, so it's good because it makes adults less wary of him. Yet he asked them what would they have done if he were really some bad guy. They were relieved because they had a bell that rings when a bad person comes near. It was imbued with a magic stone, so that's the reason they believed in Takeru. So after seeing that, Takeru introduced himself, and they all were delighted to have him. But they saw something was inside Takeru's jacket, and Takeru wasn't sure to let be out. But Eliza said there are many adventurers who tames monsters and brings them back, so it's a common thing. Hearing that, Takeru lets be out, and they got surprised that he had a black dragon cub. So Takeru hid the fact that B is an ancient dragon cub, to be precise. Well, another thing was that dragon knights are the only ones that can tame dragons, so it's rare, and for once they mistake Takeru for being a dragon knight. Then at night they stop to rest, and Takeru sets up a barrier again for safety. But they thought they got a dragon, so nothing would happen even if they don't set up a barrier. Then Takeru chose to make dinner for tonight, and as they took a bite, they all felt butterflies flying in the stomach. The man even broke down in tears because for many days they had to eat dried meat on travel. It lightened the mood, so after dinner they started to sing and dance. It was a chilling and refreshing moment, nothing like that boring life in Japan where he had always stayed alone without any friends and family to connect with, so Takeru felt blessed to be given a second chance in life. But that is where our episode ends. But stay tuned to watch the next episode, and for that subscribe and hit the bell, or else you might miss it. Till then, take care.